China-France Cultural Spring, also known as Croismint, was kicked off in Beijing on Thursday. The opening ceremony also marked the beginning of Panorama, the 8th French film showcase. Our reporter Yang Ran joins the star-studded event.
Sylvie Berman, the new French ambassador to China, along with a decent delegation of French filmmakers, welcomed the crowd into the fantasy of French movies. 10 feature films and 11 short films of productions will be screened in cinemas in Beijing, Chengdu, Shenzhen, and Hangzhou in the coming 2 months. French film enthusiasts will be treated with tales by Catherine Deneuve, Gerard Depardieu, Isabelle Huppert, and Virginie Ledoyen. And some of the directors and actors will also give master classes to Chinese film majors.
The cooperation between Chinese and French filmmakers has taken place for decades. France is the country that screens the most Chinese films in Europe, and Paris is the city that showcases the most Chinese movies in Europe. We love modern Chinese movies, and we produce Chinese film festivals in Paris twice a year. We are happy to have such an activity in China as a response. Around 240 films are produced in France every year, which means the industry output in France and China are similar. I'm very honored to introduce French films and filmmakers to you. And I should say that France is the best cooperation partner for China in this field.
Chinese filmmakers and actors also attended the ceremony. Yao Chen, who was assigned the Goodwill Ambassador of French film in China, expressed her emotions to French movies.
During my years in Beijing Film Academy, my schoolmates and I were crazy for French films. We were indulging in delicate and profound performances by those French artists, and those films helped me make up my mind to become an actress. Art is an international language, and I sincerely wish that the bilateral relationships will be improved through cooperation in art.
The ceremony also unveiled the China-France Cultural Spring. 183 activities ranging from dance, opera, music, exhibitions, circus acts, and interactive performance will be held in 25 Chinese cities until June the 30th, making this year's event the largest ever. Since 2006, Croismint has established a huge following in China. In addition to traditional art forms, the event is now introducing bold, sensitive, intricate, and fun new arts. The idea is to attract a younger generation of art lovers in an effort to build up a new cultural link between the two countries. Yang Ran, CCTV, Beijing.
Wangfujing Street, a major strip for tourists and shoppers in the heart of Beijing, has inspired a new stage project. The drama Wangfujing aims to give insight into the spirit of Beijing and its people. At a press conference on Thursday, our reporters sneaked a view of the new drama that is so redolent of history.
The bronze sculptures of old Beijing artisans. A storyteller clad in a traditional long robe as the host. Even the press conference was brimming with an unmistakable Beijing flavor. Rehearsal was in final phase. Actors were fine-tuning their performance in the days leading up to the opening night. Wangfujing is the latest stage project to explore the history and the culture of the capital city. Spanning the period of 1 century from 1910 to 2010, the play follows the ups and downs of a quaint hat shop in Wangfujing as it goes through an array of trying historic times along with the city and the country. Residents from all walks of life have flashed out, ranging from businessmen and well-heeled nobility to eunuchs, prostitutes, and other underdogs. Rich or poor, canny or candid, most of them show staunchness and courage in face of adversity. Ren Ming, director of the drama, said that he was drawn to the script for its unique perspective into the spiritual roots of Beijing.
Wangfujing is widely known as the Golden Street for its contribution to the commercial boom of Beijing. Through Wangfujing, we can see the lesser-known part of Beijing culture, veracity and fairness that stands at the center of its business tradition. Also, this China #1 street stands out as a melting pot of different cultures.
Wangfujing is one of Beijing's oldest and most famous shopping areas. The 800-meter-long pedestrian street traces its very beginning to a well that says to have saved area residents during a serious drought. How can a single street mirror a particular side of Beijing culture? And will the tale of the street capture the spiritual essence of the Beijing people? All these questions and many more will be answered 2 weeks later when the drama Wangfujing is unveiled on April 19th. Liu Chen, CCTV, Beijing.
Well, we look forward to that. A symphonic performance called The Sound of Taihe was held at the National Center for the Performing Arts in Beijing. The piece aims to create a dialogue between traditional classics and today's civilization by using modern performing elements.
The way that can be told of is not an unvarying way. The names that can be named are not unvarying names. Under deep singing of Chinese Taoist classic Tao Te Ching, the performance of The Sound of Taihe, which means the sound of harmony, got underway. Famous conductor Li Xintao was together with Philharmonic Orchestra of China to present the huge music work. It contains 4 chapters: Sky, Land, People, and Harmony. Together they perfectly demonstrate the Taoist idea of harmony. The work tries a new style of presentation by combining symphony, reading aloud, and vocal solo. Meanwhile, some traditional Chinese reed instruments were also used. This performance is a great combination of traditional Chinese culture and modern symphony. It allows audiences to experience the long Taoist history through the ages in Wudang Mountain area located in Hubei province, as well as its modernization. Scott Pruitt, CCTV.
A night of Shaoxing opera at the Shanghai Grand Theater on Thursday was paying tribute to one of the opera genre's most beloved artists, Yuan Xuefen. Contemporary performers from Shanghai and neighboring Zhejiang province were assembled for the memorial concert.
At the concert, representative works from Yuan Xuefen's decades-long career were reinterpreted. Each of the plays marked an important footprint in her lifelong exploration of reforming the one-century-old opera. Zhao Zhigang, dubbed Prince of Shaoxing Opera, brought a segment from A Dream of Red Mansions. As one of the very few male artists, Zhao wouldn't be able to stand on the stage without Yuan's calling for breaking the opera's female performer-only tradition. Mao Weitao, a top artist from the birthplace of Shaoxing Opera, Zhejiang, cooperated with one of Yuan's students, Fang Yafeng.
We want to show that generations of performers will always remember Yuan Xuefen and her achievements. If she can watch us from somewhere in heaven, she should know that we're trying our best to maintain and develop the art.
Yuan Xuefen started her Shaoxing opera career in 1933. The great performing artist died on February 19th this year in Shanghai at the age of 89. Liu Chen, CCTV.
Archaeologists have launched an exploration into the ancient tomb cluster of the Han Dynasty official Zhang Anshi, which is some 2,000 years old. The tomb in Weichu town of suburban Xi'an, provincial capital of Shanxi, belonged to Zhang Anshi, a major general of the Han Dynasty. After helping Liu Xun become the emperor, Zhang was conferred the title of Liehou, the highest level of entitled officials of the Han Dynasty. On Friday afternoon, archaeologists intrude a detector into the 13th tomb of the complex. numbered M1. Archaeologists have confirmed that M1 remained intact without any robbery by tomb raiders. Thus, M1 has become the only tomb in the complex that was not illegally disentombed and robbed. The good news is that archaeologists have discovered some burial objects, probably lacquerwares. Since 2008, archaeologists have been excavating 12 other tombs in the cemetery complex. The excavation of the remaining 2 tombs will be carried out this year. The excavation of the 13th tomb is expected to be conducted within 3 days. As planned, the entrance to M1 will be opened on Saturday, when the tomb's interior will be fully exposed. The cluster of 14 family tombs of the ancient general Zhang Anshi was built with a complex process of excavating, constructing, and filling. Now, the tomb function is not only seen as an important evidence showing the high level of civil engineering of 2,000 years ago, it also functions as some valuable material evidence of the complexity of ancient tombs.
The basic layout of the cemetery is laid bare before the archaeologists after excavation work is completed.
They first dug a large 4-square pit with the 4 chambers all in the shape of a square. Its shape is just like a common plowing field in China. Then a straight route stretches out as an underground cuniculus.
Archaeologists say the existence of the underground road signifies the high social status of the tomb owner. Tombs of common people will not have such a road. The tombs boasting the greatest number of such underground roads discovered so far is 4, but those only appear in the graveyards of emperors and imperial families. Archaeologists say that the finding is important in many aspects, from the pounded earth filling in the tomb chamber to the outer coffin chamber. It was in this outer chamber where archaeologists found a series of traces that might be used to reconstruct the original earth pounding and construction techniques. Most significant among them are the regularly distributing holes and impressions that were formed after the decay of the ropes and the wood chocks. The average diameter of the ropes ranges from 1 to 2 centimeters. Remains of a drainage system has also been found inside the tomb complex. They are located in the northeast section of the side room number 1 of the main tomb M8. Ma Shuo, CCTV.
Also in Xi'an, a grand showcase of folk heritages of China's vast western regions was staged on Thursday. The rich oral and intangible heritages of the western region were given a full manifestation through the heirs of each craft who took part in the West Intangible Heritages Showcase.
China's western regions boast the most items of intangible heritages in the country. 2/3 of them are possessed by people of various ethnic minorities, including Uyghur, Kazakh, Naxi, Zhuang, Mongolian, Hui, and Dai. The event will display nearly 100 intangible heritage items that have been inscribed on the National Intangible Heritage List. Awareness of national heritage, physical and cultural, and a desire to preserve it seems to be on the increase across the globe. In addition to physical heritage resources, cultural heritage is increasingly seen as a living bridge linking aspects of a population's history and traditions with its contemporary life. Intangible cultural heritage is made up of costumes, living art forms, and other traditions that are passed down over many years within a nation, social group, or family, and are considered the valuable and important property of all its members. The city of Xi'an is extremely rich in history and is often regarded as the cradle of Chinese civilization. The image of Xi'an as the location of the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang and the Terracotta Army is indelibly inscribed in the consciousness of countless numbers of people across the globe. But as well as the Terracotta Army and other iconic symbols of Xi'an history and heritage, the city holds a wealth of intangible cultural heritage resources. Shadow play, paper cutting, and folk opera are among the best known. Ma Shuo, CCTV.
Welcome back to Culture Express. Whipping top is a traditional game dating from ancient times that still enjoys a great popularity in southern China. The residents in Daxi, Taiwan used to play whipping tops as kids, and the town itself is famous for producing king-size versions of the toy. But these days, there's only one craftsman in the town that can still make them.
Mr. Yang Chen-lu started making tops some 30 years ago. And he still does it in the traditional way with his handmade steel knife. The solid, waxy camphor wood has been Mr. Yang's choice for making tops, especially the giant-sized ones.
The camphor wood is hard and waxy. The more you play, the better it will be, and the tops are stable enough to maintain their shape for years.
Back in the 1960s, when children in Daxi were obsessed with whipping tops, someone came up with the idea to try making a 5-kilo top that outweighs most of the regular ones. As time passed, the creative Daxi people even made giant tops weighing around 50 kilos, making their manufacture a unique tradition on the island. Mr. Yang used to be a taxi driver and winner of the local top whipping competitions. He enjoyed it so much that he even tried to make tops on his own. Unexpectedly, he found a hidden talent as a craftsman.
I was so into whipping tops. I learned it all by myself from playing to making, and this has been going on for years. But sadly, I haven't heard anyone making giant tops anymore nowadays. I guess I'm the only one left.
As more up-to-date technologies become involved in the toy-making industry, children's toys have become complicated and expensive. But maybe it's the simplicity of whipping tops that keeps it alive. Now, the pastime has been listed as an official category of folk sports competition on a national level. And more youngsters, and some adults, are finding it fun to play. Scott Pruitt, CCTV.
A highly anticipated auction of imperial Chinese ceramics from the Meiyingtang collection failed to wow buyers in Hong Kong. Several items did not even make their reserve prices. Let's find out more.
Auction house Sotheby's had touted the sale as one of the foremost private collections of Chinese ceramics in the world, saying that the quality was among the best they had ever handled. But guarded bidding did not result in the record-breaking prices expected from the sale. Pre-sale estimates from the Meiyingtang collection were between 91 to 137 million US dollars, but it fetched only 51 million. Almost 80 lots were auctioned off from the Meiyingtang collection. It includes some 2,000 pieces assembled by a European collector, providing an overview of the history of Chinese ceramics from their origins in the Neolithic period to the end of China's imperial reign in the Qing dynasty in 1911. An 18th century imperial vase, expected to fetch more than 23 million US dollars, sold for just over 9 million US dollars. The Feilong Cai vase with golden pheasants is from the Jingdezhen Imperial Kilns in Jiangxi Province and Beijing Palace Workshops of the Qianlong Emperor. A blue and white palace bowl with melons, also from the Beijing Palace Workshops, made 9.65 million, falling short its top estimate of over 10 million. Sotheby's declined to comment after the auction, but issued a press release saying, "The market sets its own prices." Scott Pruitt, CCTV.
Fashion designers in Hong Kong are going green with a new range of environmentally friendly clothing. From multi-purpose outfits to recycled fabrics, young designers have their eye on the multi-billion-dollar textile trade.
A green light shines on these catwalks in Hong Kong, quite literally. The models here are demonstrating environmentally sustainable fashion. The fashion industry in Hong Kong is taking a new turn, it's going green. Some fashion designers are producing innovative designs while staying environmentally friendly. This fashion show is showcasing the new clothing line of eco-fashion designer Lucy Shi. She produces multi-purpose garments with environmentally friendly materials. Some of her pieces from her latest collection can be worn in 42 different ways.
My clothes can transform into lots of styles. I think that when one material can bring more than one style, it's eco-friendly.
Kenny Lee, another local fashion designer, has also become more aware of the environment. He decided he needed to reduce her carbon footprint through collecting waste fabrics from factories and use eco-friendly materials like organic cotton.
The factories have leftover fabrics that are not enough to make clothes, but I can make collars out of them, so I go and search for wasted fabrics from these factories.
So will these environmental threads take off? At the moment, Hong Kong's eco-designers are producing limited quantities to their loyal customer base. But if designers can convince the retailers there's markets for eco-fashion, these pioneers may be just the beginning of a clothing revolution. Lochen, CCTV.
Several gold couture pieces were displayed in Beijing on Thursday as China races up the ranks to become one of the world's largest consumers of gold. The Audition Awards ceremony, held as the Oscars of gold jewelry design, was hosted by the Anglo Gold Ashanti and World Gold Council, and the event was designed to showcase the finest original gold creations from around China.
As the world's most well-known manufacturer, the event hoped to focus on China's jewelry creations and the ability to transform a piece of metal into a work of art. A total of 21 golden pieces were selected as finalists from more than 1,600 designs submitted from throughout China, with 5 standout pieces receiving the final prize. Hu Juanjuan's delicate coral necklace was selected as the grand winner, unanimously chosen by the event's 7 judges. Drawing from the competition's theme of transformation, Hu said she was inspired by the evolution of coral.
The whole inspiration of this design comes from coral at the bottom of the sea. The reason I'm so attracted to coral is because they come to life after they die. The circular and the transformation process from dead coral to new coral really fascinated me. Then I started thinking about how to involve this concept into jewelry design. This is the origin of my idea.
The desire for gold is ever-growing in the world's second-largest economy, and in 2007, China overtook South Africa as the world's largest producer of the precious metal. China is currently the second-largest consumer of gold, as it is viewed as a symbol of luck and a perennially safe investment option in the country. Audition's creative designer Mark Poole says that this is because Chinese consumers have a great sense of gold's inherent value and see it as something both variable and bankable.
They buy it as savings and investment, which is something that in the West is not something that is really grasped as a concept. The fact that the traditional market is 24 karat also means that when buying 24 karat gold, you're buying direct exposure to the gold price. The Chinese consumer is the only one in the world who has really, even despite the financial crisis, not for 1 second bought less gold. They are the only market that continue to grow through the worst of the financial crisis, and they continue to buy as the price rises.
The demand for physical gold and gold-related investments has grown at a faster rate in the country as China's growing number of wealthy citizens strive to diversify their investments.
I mean, definitely the inflation is one of the important factors when people decided to buy gold, and especially when they have a concern about their inflation and about the devaluation of their wealth. So Chinese people deeply believe that gold might be one of the best assets for them to preserve their wealth, especially during the high inflation period.
Gold imports into China soared in 2010, turning the country into a major overseas buyer and a significant force in global gold prices. Ma Shuo, CCTV.
With that, we come to the end of today's edition of Culture Express. As we go, in case you might want to see more of the beauties, we'll leave you with some of the highlights of the one-week-long fashion show showcasing autumn-winter collections of various renowned designers of India, which started in New Delhi on Wednesday. 48 models will walk the ramp for 5 days for 77 designers and will showcase nearly 2,500 creations for this event. Enjoy. I'm Yun Chen in Beijing. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more CCTV News coming up next.